Yo, what's going on, builders? So I'm not feeling too good this week, so I figured we'd just kind of do a one-take video and talk about airbrushes. So I noticed this one video I posted a while ago, the video about cleaning your Iwata Neo airbrush. That one gets a lot of comments on it, one of my most commented videos. And half the comments say like, thank you so much, this was super helpful. My airbrush is clear, it's spraying, it's working perfect, thank you so much. The other half say, thank you for the tutorial. I got my airbrush completely clean, but the problem is it just won't spray correctly. I don't know what's going on. So I wanted to share kind of some tips that I learned with the Iwata Neo to maybe help your experience be a little bit easier. So one thing that to note is when you buy this airbrush out of the box, it comes as a 0.35 millimeter setup. So it's got a needle in here, a little nozzle right there, and then this piece right here. Now those three pieces come together and make up that 0.35 millimeter spray. So that's a good spray. It's really tiny. It's good for airbrushing, good for doing details, good for weathering, and it's like good for all types of stuff. It's a great spray. Not the best for covering large surfaces, but you can still do it. But the problem is that a lot of acrylic paint really does not want to, no matter how much you thin it, there's still going to be little particles in there. And more often than not, they can very easily get caught up on that 0.35 millimeter, spray setup. So what I did is I converted my Neo to a 0.5 millimeter setup. I got a new nozzle cap. I got a new nozzle, and then I got a new needle, and now it has a 0.5 millimeter spray. Lets a little more paint through, bigger spray. The difference is that a lot of this acrylic paint will go through here now a lot easier. It just flows through here a lot easier. So real quick, here's the three parts you would need to make that change. I think when I did it, it costed like 30 bucks with shipping and all that. So maybe you can get them all in one spot. But yeah, those are the three parts you need to make that a 0.5 millimeter. And I'm not gonna lie to you, 0.5 didn't make it miraculously a fairy tale airbrush to use. I ended up getting another one, which we'll get into in a second. But it did just make the experience way better. Instead of having clogs, 80% of the time, 90% of the time, literally. Now I had clogs only 10%, 5% of the time. And it just became way easier to use. So that's my biggest tip for this airbrush, is if you get the Iwata Neo and you shoot acrylics, then get the 0.5 millimeter needle nozzle, cap setup, because it'll make your life way easier, especially if you're experiencing clogs. If you're experiencing clogs, that might be a good reason why. So if you want to try things out without getting a whole new airbrush, definitely just try these out here, because they'll definitely probably make a pretty big difference. This is a really good airbrush. Like I said, it's cheap, but it's a really good one. The only really fault with this airbrush is just how tiny this nozzle is, and you have to screw it in with a little tiny wrench. And if you go too tight, it's super easy to just break off in there, and then, you have to send this whole thing in for repair. As long as you're careful with that and you keep this thing very clean, it's a really, really, really good $60 airbrush. So I used it for a long time, but eventually I wanted to get something else. The Badger 105 Patriot. The reason that I got this airbrush is because this nozzle is so big, and it doesn't even screw in. It just fits into place right there. And then this piece actually holds it in place. So coming from the Neo, where the nozzle, is this big, and you have to screw it into threads, this airbrush almost just seems like it's just so much easier to use. It's pretty easy to clean. One little pro tip too, if you're cleaning your airbrushes, if you don't know about these, you definitely need to get some. They're kind of expensive, but there's nothing else like them. I mean, you can get any brand, but these plaque teeth cleaner things, So yeah, so I ended up upgrading to this one just because I liked how simple it was, simple, ease of use, and it sprays really nice too. I've done a lot of work with this one, and you know, Turbo Dork. To me, it all seems to go through here pretty well, and I like how simple this airbrush is to use. Just very easy to break down, easy to clean, especially coming from this one, you know. But at the same time, this is a good airbrush because it's good to learn on. So I don't want this video to get too long. That's pretty much it. If you're gonna get the Iwata Neo, or if you're having trouble with your Iwata Neo, then check out the 0.5mm needle nozzle setup. Hope this video is helpful. Like I said, I'm not feeling too good this week. I had the COVID, but I'm feeling better now. So look out for a more exciting video next week, where we will be reviewing the Hexagear bulk arm jungle type. So I'll see you then. Peace.